Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 2 Bush Rescue Returns has 27 achievements, and I intended to get all of them. So let's grab our ranks and toss ourselves into this new adventure. I started out in the— Oh! Is this an active war zone? That's right. The first level of the game drops us in the middle of a battlefield. It's here where I immediately noticed a difference with the first game. The opals act like a currency rather than a collectible. Finally, a reason to commit tax fraud. In the first level alone, you can get more opals than the entirety of Ty 1. It's also here where a new mechanic is introduced, the Bunyip, and it is fun. Having the ability to just obliterate enemies with a mech is a blast. Think of the amount of war crimes I can get away with in this thing. While in the Bunyip, I ran into— oh great, it's Fluffy. Can't wait to hear how we could have been a good team. Blah blah blah. She has her own mech and even challenges Ty in a boss fight. I'd tell you her attack patterns, but I beat her before she could land a single hit on me. Anyway, I beat her down and got the first achievement, Prison Break. Despite the smackdown I gave her, she still managed to get Boss Cass out of prison. So once again, we needed to stop him. Apparently, Ty and friends started an organization called Bush Rescue so they could better help others. Very heartwarming. Anyway, Dennis informed us that Cass has started a new country called Cassopolis, just so he can get diplomatic immunity, which we'll ignore because apparently Ty and friends operate outside of the law. This game has a slightly different structure than the previous game. It focuses mostly on missions rather than levels. Don't get it twisted though, there are still a few traditional levels in this game, just not as many as the first. Now that I'm back in control of Ty, I'll go over a few collectibles. Picture frames make a return in this game with 175 to collect. Unlike the first game, they are necessary for 100%. Sometimes they're in translucent boxes, other times they're out in the open. The golden cogs rank down to silver, and there's only 50 rather than 90. Even better is that you don't have to collect them for special boomerangs. We only have to rescue 30 bilbies, unlike the first game's 45, and they aren't stuck in cages anymore. A new collectible is the Chromium Orb. There are 30 of these. These collectibles are especially important because of a little shopkeeper named Madame Mopoke. You can buy some maps from her for 10 Chromium Orbs each. The maps can help Ty track down other collectibles, such as the aforementioned silver cogs, bilbies, and something else I'll bring up in a bit. Overall, there are significantly less collectibles than the first game. That just makes it easier to get everything. Oh, they allow your kind here? Wait, no, I didn't mean it like that. I'm not, I swear I'm not. Guys, over in Burramudgee Town, there are a few shops which are important for some achievements. The Rang shop, which is run by Ty's parents, has most of the starter rangs. By buying all these rangs, we can get an achievement. The most important rangs I'd recommend are the Infarang, Smasherang, and the Lasso Rang, as each of these have the most important utilities out of all the rangs. To the left of the Rang shop is another shop that sells items like the Golden Paw, Bunyip licenses, and skins for Ty, and another vehicle I'll go over in a bit. Ranger Ken asked for Ty's help with some crocodiles. While the mission itself isn't anything special, it's someone we meet who is. This handsome fellow is Gooboo Steve. You either want to be him or want to be with him. Unfortunately, he can only be found 10 times across the world, so cherish each moment with him as if it were your last. Since we've gotten the basics out of the way, let's head out. Rather than going through portals to enter levels, you head to each level via Jeep. It's pretty cool and makes the world feel more connected in my opinion. Before I went to the first level, I encountered these Hollywood guys who needed help dealing with these ninjas. There are 3 of these missions in the game, and by completing all 3, you can get an achievement. You'd think I'd like these guys since they're from the US of A like yours truly, but they are also from Hollywood, so at least one of them is on a list. Outback Oasis is the first traditional level of the game. It's nothing too difficult, but it did show off certain things we'll encounter like these uber frills, and areas that require specific rangs to access. Right out of the gate, you can use the Smasher Rang to break these glowing red rocks. Julius wanted us to be here to test out his latest invention, so Ty had to battle it out with a bunch of enemies in this arena. There are a few other missions like this, but they're all the same. Afterward, I went back to town to get some rangs and... For people who are supposed to uphold the law, they sure do love breaking the laws of gravity. But that's enough about how the swine flew. Immediately after, I drove to this race entry. There are 7 of these around Southern Rivers, and by completing all of them, I can get an achievement. For now, I get the achievement, Nice Guys Don't Finish Last. One of the mission types you'll encounter over the course of the game is the vehicle missions. There's not much to talk about these missions as they're all the same. Pick up object, then put object in place, so I won't bring up these missions that much. I then encountered Fluffy, who gave some speech about how she only does this because of money. Blah blah blah. She unleashed the first real boss of the game, Patchy. This cybernetic dinosaur isn't much of a problem. Hit the parts of its body glowing red. After a few hits, the parts will be destroyed and move on to the next. Patchy can slam his tail down and fire missiles at Ty. Keep your distance from him if you want to best dodge his attacks. If you get hit, there are a few baskets around the arena to heal, so the boss isn't much of a problem. And I obtained the Patch It Up achievement once he's down. After the battle, the gang gathered to discuss what Boss Cass is planning, and I immediately received an answer. Cass is using this machine for something with the help of this not-so-cuddly koala, Carlos. Dennis asked me to deliver food to some workers. You know, wouldn't it be nice to get food right at your doorstep? Don't you wish there was a meal service that could deliver food to you without any hassle? Yeah, me too. There was a mission which I didn't notice earlier to find a disguised frill using the Infarang to find it. This isn't the only disguised frill in the game. There are 25 others, and I need to take down all of them if I wanted an achievement. I'd also help Dennis's nephew with a spooky mission. I was never much of a believer in ghosts, but this encounter shook me to my core. Anyway, I took out the frill disguised as one of the ghosts. After finishing that quick mission, I went to work on the next set of missions. A test from Julius, helping Dennis finish his highway, help tag some Crocs with Ranger Ken, and getting some sunscreen to Pippi Beach, which was supplied by... Rex and Ellie. It's for an achievement. Get over it. Just deliver the sunscreen. No issues at all. No animosity at all. I went back to the Rang shop to buy the last few standard Rangs and received the I Need Rangs achievement. The next level of the game is Mount Boom. Before heading in, I got the Thermo Bunyip license, which allows me to use the Bunyip of the same name. The Thermo Bunyip can swim through lava and could spray water to put out fires. In this heated area, all I had to do was help out some miners. Not those miners, I'm not that kind of YouTuber. This area is nothing too difficult, just a tedious puzzle to open one hatch. After I wrapped up Mount Boom, I went to the next level, Frill Neck Forest. Look, I don't care what the song says, I'm going to talk about Bruno and ask, how did he even get here? In order to move around, you need the lasso rank, so how did Bruno get all the way over? Oh, never mind. After rescuing Bruno, I returned to Burramudgee Town and bought the other Bunyip licenses to get the Keymaster achievement. I also noticed a familiar face, a certain bird who I hit 15 times with the Flamerang. Lenny here has quite a few stories to tell.
I was trying to calm Ty down, stop him from blubbering like a baby.
I think I'm gonna hit him a few more times with the Flamerang. Note, do not hit people with a flaming boomerang. Except if they're talking shit. By listening to all of Lenny's true stories, I got the achievement 100% true. Honestly, I feel like a dingus for realizing he was there, especially considering how easy the achievement was to get. I assumed that most players would also have this achievement. But no, only 7.4% of players have acquired the achievement, and it's the 4th rarest in the game, so yeah. Murray informed us that Cass was attacking an oil rig and needed Ty's help to stop him. Make sure to put out all the fires to get the Oil's Well That Ends Well achievement. After scaling the oil rig, a bunch of little spider things started crawling around, and Fluffy reveals that these things are nanobots. And then we get into the next boss fight with Buster. Buster's fight isn't difficult, just long. He'll charge and jump at Ty for most of the fight. The only opportunity you have to attack is when he roars. Toss your Rang into his core. Close to the end of the fight, Buster will transform into a ball and chase Ty down. Just keep moving and jumping and he won't hit you. If you do get hit, there are some picnic baskets around the arena that respawn after a minute or two. Once Buster was beaten, the Totally Busted achievement was in my grasp. After the fight was over, Julius explained that Fluffy had stolen a bioorganic microscanalizer. Also, Boss Cass can create more of those annoying Uber frills. Despite this dire news, we persevered and got back to doing some missions. Over in Fair Dinkum, I helped Ty's sister with her tourist trap. Apparently, in order to start these emergency generators all over the area, I had to hit 8 buttons in this alligator-infested swamp. Smart idea, sis. All this work to bring down a bridge. Upon wrapping stuff up in fair dinkum, I noticed I had 10 chromium orbs. So I returned to Burramudgee to buy the cog map from Madam Mopoke. Once I was done in Burramudgee, I set out again and drove to a shop icon I spotted in Southern Rivers. It was here where I discovered Sly's Shack. Just like Ty's parents, Sly sells boomerangs, except his boomerangs are more powerful and expensive. I kept this in mind since getting all ranks is required for 100%. And after that, I put out a forest fire in Gunna Gunna and went to the next level, Sulphur Rocks. Down here are a few missions I could do right off the bat. One mission requires Ty to outrun this stone beetle while on rails, which I do with no issue. Aww, did the big scary beetle not get the tiny Tasmanian tiger? Maybe next time it should actually try. Moving on from that joke of a mission, I also helped Snappy out of this lava area and did a small trial given to us by this lady. After I finished up Sulphur Rocks, I completed another Beryl and Squirrel mission. Blah blah blah, their director was on that island. Over in the wetlands, I wrangled these crocs into a pen for Dennis's brother Bruce. Afterward, I received a call that Rex was trapped and slowly losing oxygen while surrounded by sharks. Against my better judgment, I saved Rex from the sharks. Even though I hate him and his wife, I needed to complete all missions if I wanted to get all achievements.
I'm so glad to have you back in one piece, doll.
In what piece? Once that was done with, I set off to Cass's loading docks to stop Fluffy from getting the shadow drive. Both Ty and Fluffy are in bunyips. Fluffy hops around the arena, hanging off the edge of the platforms most of the time. Just smack her with the bunyip to do damage. Unfortunately, she restores her health using these 3 mechs surrounding the arena. Destroy these mechs by mounting the 3 turrets also in the area. Then when you take out all 3 of those mechs, Fluffy is fair game. And the Mortar Mayhem achievement was all mine.
You know, Ty, still not too late to join us.
You know, Fluffy, it's not too late to... Oh, she's actually doing it. I didn't think she would... Oh, who am I kidding? She's still alive. Anyway, I recovered the shadow drive, halting whatever plan Cass had in store. Julius also mentioned it'll be useful for a bunyip. For now, Julius needed to decode a data net to stop snickering to find out Cass's plan, and I immediately got back on the mission grind. Starting out by delivering some explosives to Min Min Mine. Why is it timed? Oh! Afterward, I did another race and helped move these crates out of the way to help this lady to the hospital. I wasn't sure if she was having a boy or a girl, but I could tell what I was having. A slog. Next up is the Never Never. This prehistoric level has the most collectibles out of any of them. It's also here where I helped Snappy get his ship back, get this rock climber to safety, and help Dennis through the area by decimating these dinos the same way the meteor did. Afterwards, I grabbed the last few collectibles and left, proceeding with the last few levels. I also wrapped up the last few races and got the Burramudgee Graffiti achievement. Afterwards, I completed the last Burrow and Squirrel mission and received the Hollywood Square achievement, and their director received a lifetime sentence for his ties with... You already know where this joke is going. Since I was closing into the last mission of the game, I decided to grab some of the collectibles. This got me the Falterdan achievement for finding Steve in all 10 of his hiding spots, and Photo Booth after collecting all picture frames. I shall miss you, Steve. My parasocial relationship with you won't be forgotten. It's time to take on Boss Cass. In a shocking turn of events, Cass managed to capture all of Burramudgee Town's residents to use as fuel for his Uber frills. With the new Shadow Bunyip we received from Julius, we charged to Cass's third world country and gave him the hands. Despite being a game from down under, it sure knows how to make the red, white, and blue in my veins flow down to the bald eagle in my down under and rise to the land of the free. Hoorah! I'd play Fortunate Son if it weren't copyrighted. After a quick rematch with Patchy and Buster, I spotted a button off in the distance. By pressing this button, 4 more buttons spawned. Upon hitting all of them, it opened a passageway that led to an opal bag containing 10,000 opals. And by collecting this bag, I got the Wherein the Money achievement. It should be noted there is 1 silver cog in this level, and it's the last one I needed to collect for the Silence is Golden but Cogs are Silver achievement. With that silver cog collected, I proceeded through the rest of the level until I was face to face with Boss Cass again. In Cass's first phase, he sicks a horde of nanobots on Ty while he flies around the arena. Hit him with the Shadow Bunyip's blaster. Every time he gets hit, he'll put up a force field. Just wait until it's down to hit him again. After taking a fourth of his health, he'll enter his second phase where the nanobots form into a mech suit for Cass. When the mech slams its arms down, he'll be open to damage. Another fourth of his health is gone and he enters his third phase. He abandoned his nanobots to smite Ty with magma rocks. Similar to the first phase, hit him with your blaster after he tosses all his magma away. In the fourth phase of the fight, he loses his hovercraft and is forced to run around the arena. Just smack him or blast him and the fight is finally over. With Boss Cass's plans thwarted, the Bush Rescued achievement is all mine and Boss Cass was back in prison. But we're still not done. There are a few things we need to get done before we move on. Since I collected all silver cogs, I went to Trader Bob's shop to buy all the skins for Ty and the 4B to get the Skinny Dipper achievement. I also rescued the last of the Bilbies to get the You Have a Friend in Me achievement, and the last Chromium Orb for the Into Orbit achievement. During my search for the last few collectibles, I collected my 200,000th opal and received the Opal Hoarder achievement. Once I took out the last of the disguised frills, I received the Fully Qualified and Bush Rescue Out of Order achievements. The moment I received those achievements, I quickly returned to town and went to Madame Mopoke for the last map and the Cryptocartographer achievement. All that was left was to buy the last few rangs in Sly's shop. However, the cost for buying these rangs was steep. My solution wasn't exactly dignifying. Just kidding. My actual solution was to run through the final level a few times. Each time I collected the 10,000 opal bags, I left the level then returned. Each run netted me about 16,000 opals, so it wasn't long until I got enough opals to reach my goal. Upon reaching the required amount of opals needed, I drove over to Sly's shack to get the last rangs, the All the Rangs achievement, and finally the Everything in the Kitchen Sink achievement. With everything collected and done with, there was one last mode to deal with, Hardcore mode. Just like the first game, Hardcore gives Ty one life, and if he loses it, the entire save is reset. Since I beat the first game's Hardcore mode without dying, it's obvious the second game's Hardcore would be no problem. My strategy was simple. Get the Golden Paw first, and prioritize getting the important rangs like the Infarang, Smasharang, and Megarang. And on my first attempt, I sped through the game with little issue. I even beat Boss Cass again, which got me the Bush Rescued Hardcore achievement. There was one last achievement, and all I had to do was 100% the game again. Since all the major missions were done, it was smooth sailing from here. What? I don't understand. But I beat the final boss. How did this thing kill me? I died on my first attempt on Hardcore. Not because of a hazard, nor a boss, but an on-rails segment. Struck down by a beetle I underestimated twice. You heard that correctly. Twice. I lost 2 attempts because of this thing. Luckily, I didn't get too far into my second attempt, so I wasn't as broken up about it as the first. Still, screw this beetle! Despite those first 2 failed attempts, my confidence only stayed broken for a moment. As the old saying goes, third time's the charm. Prior to my third attempt, I went back to the first file and redid the Stone Beetle mission a few times to better understand how this thing works. When you first enter the Beetle mission, Ty is already leaning forward on the rail. If you tilt your joystick in any direction, Ty will lean backwards and slow down. This was why I died to the beetle. Upon learning this, I made sure not to touch the joystick until the camera was behind Ty rather than in front. Another tip, jumping on the rails can cause Ty to go faster. He doesn't even have to jump to another rail, you can just have him leap forward. Keeping these things in mind, I easily beat the beetle on my third attempt. With that beetle done with, I felt a weight fall off my shoulders. Everything else in this run was child's play. Bosses went down, missions were completed, and collectibles were obtained. Using the knowledge of all of my runs, I completed the game once more and obtained the last achievement, Everything in the Kitchen Sink Hardcore. And with that, I can officially say I perfected Ty the Tasmanian Tiger 2 Bush Rescue. This game was a lot more fun than the first. It has more variety and stuff you can do. You can even play with your friends in the Kart Racing mode, even if it's no Mario Kart. If you've got the money to spare, I'd recommend you give this game a shot. Oh right, one last thing. Ty 2 also has a secret ending like the first game. The spirit guide from the last game asked for Ty's assistance for something. But if this secret ending is anything like the first games, we won't have to worry about these weird guys. Right? Thanks for watching. The video for the third Ty game will be up next week, so be sure to subscribe so you don't miss it, and also leave a like.